You are given immortality with the side effect of being sent back in time 2000 years. Would you accept this offer? And if so, what would you do? Going to Rome, baby. Oh yeah. You're in for a good time in about 60 years when Nero burns down the entire mucking city. I hear Pompeii was a pretty great place to settle down. You should also form a religion. 2000 years ago. This is easy. Move to Lucillenburg. Lay low. Gather a group of strong men around me and train them for 4 centuries. Establish trading connections around the Low Countries and Saxony. Around 500 CE. Declare the independent state of Luxembourg. Fortify the most strategically important site in Europe. Conquer Antwerp and Rotterdam. Act as the western gateway for that sweet Hanseatic trade money. Ingratiate myself with the ruling European families. Profit. Centuries later, probably start writing a fictional vampire series about my experiences. Edit. Thank you everyone for the awards. I can't believe this blew up. The answer is kind of based on a headcanon story that I've had for a long time. I don't play Crusader Kings, but now I'm definitely going to check it out. You all made my morning. This guy Crusader Kings. I'm stupid, but what book are you talking about? A lot of people have mentioned potential downsides, but another one, even if you have invulnerability, is the possibility of being imprisoned. Maybe they can't kill or even hurt you, but they could lock you as a prison or trap you in a cave or something for eternity. Imagine being trapped in a dark cave for thousands of years with no way to die no matter how badly you wanted to. That's straight up torture. Imagine then 2000 years later they find you while digging to build a new building. At that point you have gone insane and are a shell of your former self. There's a movie/show pilot on Netflix about this. In the Middle Ages the people thought they were witches. One escaped but the other was locked in a box and thrown in the ocean. 2000 years trapped in a cave only for 3 days. If my math is right, you could be accused of something and then executed, buried, and then somehow escape after a few days, and then the first friend you see is like, is it really you? Worse, inevitably the sun goes red giant and earth gets consumed. Immortal starts to sound pretty unpleasant. Invulnerable or not, then, when the sun explodes, drifting for what is apt to be a very long time. I think I've heard this referred to as the Wolverine paradox or similar, where, if you are immortal, the chance of becoming trapped or stuck in that sort of situation becomes a surety, because you can't avoid it forever. You have infinite time. Wear down the cell door by doing nothing but scratching it with rocks for thousands of years. Only if I was both invulnerable to injury and had the ability to kill myself if I chose. There's a lot of details we'll have to clear up tbh. Have your people call my people. I had to dig up my response last time this was asked. We have to talk about the repercussions. The sun will burn out. You will be left on a frozen planet, or vaporized I guess. Dunno how that'll go. I would assume life forever means you are stuck there, cold and dark, forever. So the biggest assholes. It's a punishment. FYI, turns out you'll get vaporized when the sun swallow Earth's orbit. If you're immortal, that's gonna hurt for a long time. Edit, since I keep getting told to just leave Earth. Here is what you need to consider. Progress on space travel will require an extended period without catastrophe. Think asteroid, nuclear war, deadly virus. Then, you need to break down the physics. Voyager 1 has left the solar system. That's the extent of our reach to date. It was launched in the 1970s and is moving at 11 miles a second. 4 light years is 2.351 1013 miles. If my math is right, and I did this quick, it would take Voyager 1 about 50 million years to reach Proxima Centauri. That's the nearest potentially habitable planet. Let's say you line it up perfect and land there, then it's actually not habitable. That rocket of yours getting you back into orbit for the next planet? If not, all your eggs in that one basket, then you wait for its star to vaporize you. Yeah, every time this immortality thing pops up on Reddit it's like, please establish some ground rules here. Otherwise you will end up basically brain dead or severely disabled, or just stuck abandoned in space for eternity. If I'm being offered this, my 2k plus year old self should be around to tell me it's a go or not. I will wait on myself to tell me to do it or not. Plot twist, your 2k plus year old self is the one offering you immortality. I do not want to menstruate for 2000 years, not to mention, as a woman, would essentially be property for the first 1900 years. Hallelujah. But think of all the amazing things you would see. All the wild history we've only read about in books. The deaths and births of civilizations and languages. And you'd get to experience all of this, counting down the seconds, until you had to live through 2020 all over again. Yeah. Truck that. Not enough information. So I will describe the conditions on which I'd accept. I'd do it if I was immortal, would not age, and could not be injured permanently. You should add, cannot be trapped and or some sort of supernatural power. Otherwise, people will solve you by burying you alive, drowning you, or otherwise restraining you. You'd basically get to witness all of recorded history firsthand. Although by the time it came around to present day, your would have been lifetime would fly by in comparison to your new lifetime. Then you gotta deal with eternity by yourself, which doesn't sound pleasant. I'd need to know the details of my immortality. Can I get hurt? Do I heal? Do spawn and come back to life somewhere if hurt? Do I have to eat? Or is eating and drinking an option? But I can skip it without any issue. And what happens when I get tired of living? Can I call it off myself? Then I'd need to have some kind of knowledge of languages. But if those issues were satisfied, yeah, I'd go back. People say this, but how many historic events do you actually remember in enough detail to be there for? And how long until your presence at those historic sites ends up getting you the wrong kind of attention? Can't witness crap if you have to walk everywhere. You'll get to see an event then have to walk 4 years to reach another part of the earth. You have to guess at when exactly things happen. Can't be in 2 places at once and then live through the doldrums between. Not to mention the butterfly effect. Can I choose where? That's the difference between me being revered as a sorcerer and burnt at the stake for being a witch doctor. Every 10 to 20 years you just move away. No one will have any way to identify you. I think the fact that it'd be immortal wouldn't be a problem. The fact that my immune system and every highly developed virus and bacteria in me would kill most parts of the world's population within months after my arrival is a lot more concerning. What would eternity be without company? And you wouldn't be able to speak any languages for at least the first year. Bring COVID back to ancient Rome. With that in mind, it would be hilarious to put yourself in an Egyptian tomb. And when someone finally excavated it, you could scare the living deuce out of someone. Then there'd only be one fatality. Put a 1 on Leicester to win the league. Still hard to believe they won it. Such an unreal season. You're immortal. How wonderful. And going back 2000 years will allow you to become rich and powerful. Knowing that there's gold in the Yukon, or diamonds in South Africa. Knowing about the geography of the planet. Being able to buy the early works of Da Vinci, or Michelangelo, backing Rockefeller and Carnegie when they are starting out. Buying a ton of Bitcoin at 6. Owning Apple and Google and Amazon shares. Rich and powerful, but everyone you ever meet will die. You will have children and lovers and spouses and friends. And you'll have to bury all of them. As we get older, our perception of time shifts. And that's why as adults it seems like the seasons are racing past. Accelerate that. Centuries will fly past in a heartbeat, and it will seem that the baby you saw born will have died in the blink of an eye. How can you possibly risk emotionally engaging with them knowing this? We're pretty good at generating, processing, and transmitting information these days. And we're only getting better at it. That means you're going to have to keep your immortality a secret, because it's the holy grail of mythology and science. And if word gets out that you're immortal, you will be hunted relentlessly. You will be taken into custody and examined meticulously, right down to the last bit of your DNA. You'll need to be very good at running and hiding. And you won't be able to trust a single soul who know what the long future holds for humanity, or this planet. There could be another great extinction event that wipes out 90% of life on Earth. You'll survive, but what else will? Maybe you'll get to see humans travel and colonize other worlds. If we can solve the FTL dilemma, eventually the sun will explode, or just fizzle out. You might be lucky enough to have escaped this planet before the sun swallows it. But then you'll be adrift, unless As I said, there were colonized planets. Even if there were, eventually the universe will expand and fizzle out in what science speculates will be the Great Freeze. There will be no stars, no planets, no life except your own. There will be nothing. Nothing but you in the entire universe. For all time. Alone for eternity. I think I will pass on this proposal. Chicken. You will have children and lovers and spouses and friends. Clearly you overestimate my social skills. Man. This is exactly what I say to every immortality question. The earth and sun will eventually die. As well as the universe. You're stuck in emptiness. Forever. That is. Unless there is another Big Bang. I feel like people are sleeping on one important fact. For this scenario to be possible, time travel must also be possible. You're immortal. Figure it out, and you could potentially forever avoid the end of the universe. Travel to Antarctica, because it will be there. Edit. I never expected this to get to awards. Thank you all so much. Build a settlement. With functioning heat, running water, indoor plumbing, and invite a few hundred select people. After the kids come of age, kick half of everyone out, invite a few new people in. Gotta keep the gene pool fresh. Name it Scratlantis. Make sure you have a ton of acorns. Am I also invulnerable? Like can disease or traumatic injury still kill me? I wouldn't want to go back to a time without modern medicine, unless I'm also invulnerable. I mean, being immortal nothing could kill you. The real question is, can you be permanently damaged? Like, imagine being a useless, inanimate lump of flesh that just lived forever. Someone said that if you're immortal, you're essentially guaranteed to at some point end up permanently stuck in a hole somewhere that you will never leave. The longer you live, the more likely it is to happen. Go and watch The Man from Earth 2007. Not so much Sent Back, but deals with immortality. I liked the movie, but be warned. Only watch the first. Don't bother with the sequel. If ever there was a movie that needed no sequel. What state would your body be in? If you stayed the same age and were in your early to mid 20s, then you could become a god among men. Progressive overload with weights to become superhuman strong. Have knowledge of the stock market and how well certain businesses do to get unlimited money, buy up land and literally own countries. How much knowledge of the stock market do you have? We are talking about going back to the year 20th. Most of what the average person knows about the market won't be applicable for 1980 years, by which time you would have forgotten about it. Gonna need a baseline on where am I being sent to specifically, and also some historian tell me what crap was going down then. Also we do need clarity on the immortality rules. Can I grow limbs back? Can I get diseases etc? Imagine being sent to the bottom of the ocean for 2000 years. Sure, because 2000 years later I will be right where I'm now. Just with immortality. Yeah, I'd be a completely different person though. All the things I'd have learned over that time. All the things I'd have forgotten. My favorite comment from this answer a few years back. By you/Depeak1. I'm stranger in a strange land. I have no skill in making anything useful, not with the tools of this age, and my body is ill-suited for hard labor. I decide to go from farm to farm until someone is willing to give me simple work that can be communicated without words. At least my regeneration will help me recover quickly. I'm kicked off a farm almost immediately. Within an hour or two it is obvious that I'm slower than a 10-year-old child of this time. And the farmer has no desire to share his hard-grown food with this oddly garbed, weak-limbed creature. I have learned 2 words which I believe mean barn and worthless piece of deuce or something of that nature. I cannot pronounce either, but I repeat them as I walk. I'm near a city and the farms are blessedly close. Even so, it takes close to a full day before I find another farm that allows me to do some work. My benefactor this time is grizzled and careworn. Yet I think he is touched by my helplessness. I work a few hours and eat for the first time. The flavor's strange and bland to my palate. My vocabulary gains a few more words, but most of the communication is through hand gestures. Though even that is surprisingly difficult. I sleep in the barn. Rain dripping though the slats keeping me awake long into the night. I had the good fortune to arrive during planting season. As I grow accustomed to the work, I feel I'm less of a burden than I was at first. Perhaps I'm even barely earning my keep. But, more to the point, my vocabulary is improving considerably, and I'm now speaking in short, simple sentences. The summer is busy for me. I know I cannot stay here. After harvest I will need to find other accommodations. I know that learning to write is of the utmost importance, but there are no books to be found. Instead I slowly, painfully copy characters I see written, wherever I find them, practicing them with the burnt ends of sticks on rock, until I can form them quickly, even if I do not know their meaning. My benefactor, who has the habit of occasionally looking on as I practice my writing, surprises me one day. We are in the city. He introduces me to a man, whose function I do not really grasp, but who seems to be some sort of clerk. In any case, he is willing to write out some sentences and tell me what they mean. His accent is new to me, the vocabulary strange, and I drink it in. This man has some education. I use my charcoal collection to write the translations in English, and he asks what language it is. I have no answer, so I tell him I made it up. He laughs. For many nights after, I copy these passages again and again. I visit the clerk at every opportunity. The farmer is understanding, he is kind, and seems to care about me, but I also see relief in his eyes that I will not ask to stay the winter. The clerk has become a friend, and he willingly supplies me with new words and corrects my fledgling script. Luckily, the script is simple and rather flexible, much simpler than English, and my progress is rapid. My writing has become quite serviceable, and well that it has, because the harvest is done and the preparations for winter have begun. I still work much of each day, but soon I will need to find new accommodations. The clerk, who it turns out takes dictations from the wealthy and illiterate, helps me find a job doing inventory and bookkeeping for a successful shop. It pays so little that I can scarcely afford to house, feed, and clothe myself. But I have ready access to quill pens, and now my real work can begin. On wood, stone, and any other surface I can find, I begin writing down everything I remember about textiles, manufacturing, mathematics, psychology, history, and medicine. I write in English, and in great detail, developing a shorthand for my relative certainty about these facts. Over the next several years, my education proves invaluable. The owner of the shop, at first scornful of my work, becomes, if not a friend, then at least an ally. I show him how to reduce inventory carrying costs using lean techniques and predictive forecasting of purchasing trends. I introduce a formal loyalty program, employ relatively sophisticated product pricing strategies, and he is generous in rewarding me as his wealth burgeons. The clerk is happy for my success at first, and I even try to help him. But the role reversal does not suit him well, and we stop spending time together. When he dies a few years later, I don't even know the farmer I visit occasionally. It is awkward, but I owe it to him. The shop purchases most of what he produces at a good price, and that is perhaps the only meaningful thing I give to him before he dies. Quietly, 8 years after I arrived. It is during this time that I sow the seeds of wealth. I save every coin I can, and found an informal bank. I'm allowed to operate out of the shop owner's buildings in exchange for a 20% share of profits. He is skeptical at first, but it costs him nothing. By the time he dies, nearly 30 years later, it is more than half his annual earnings. According to the quasi-accounting team I now employ, I purchased the business from his widow for a sizable sum, sufficient to keep her in comfort for her few remaining years. It takes time to find and train someone to handle the day-to-day management of the bank and the shop still known as such, though it has expanded a dozen times and offers the finest and most varied wares in the city. But once accomplished, I turn my attention to my new project, a university. I pay to build it, but the ongoing costs are covered by the students, mostly the children of the obscenely wealthy. I need to be careful. Some of my ideas could draw the wrong kind of attention, but I begin rigorously training them in the scientific method, drawing on every elementary school experiment I can remember. I find I enjoy this. Aside from some dalliances, I lead a fairly solitary existence. The children make me feel connected, meaningful. It is time to deal with the issue of not aging. I establish a bank and university in 2 cities perhaps a month's journey away from each other and begin passing myself off as my own son or grandson. Every 20 years or so I rotate, managing the affairs of the other location by correspondence. Some of the students have grown up and become teachers. This is both heartwarming and inconvenient. I have good paper now. Just one of the many fruits of my universities. I publish a book of prophecy, in which I attempt to capture all my recollections of science and phrase it as if they were clever guesses. This is perhaps all I can do to guide and hasten their progress. I continue to write down my memories, but I have not remembered anything new in a very long time. I fall in love. She is young. Everybody is young. When you have lived a century and a half, and she is bright, and she worships me, yet speaks to me candidly and without guile. Before I ask her to marry me, I tell her the truth about who I am. Something I have never done before. I show her the vast piles of writings, copied and recopied in an ever greater expanse. Organized and reorganized, indexed and cross-referenced 100 ways. She does not believe me. She is not cruel. But she leaves the university soon after, and I do not see her again for many years. For the first time, I contemplate death. Impatient with the rate of progress, I use my wealth and prestige to forge a political career. I have no wish or facility to run a nation, but I advise, and my banks give my words weight. I do my best to resolve conflict and establish universities in every allied country. The thing I remember with the sweetest nostalgia, other than air conditioning and hot water, is TV shows. It is a bizarre, ridiculous thing to work toward. But I throw my wealth and centuries and harness the combined intellectual power of every major nation to make me some damn talk as it takes a long time. It is 750 years before the world is modern in my eyes, though history has taken a vastly different shape. We had no dark ages, no long stretches of stagnation. For all the many gaps in my knowledge, there are always brilliant minds to discover, or even to leapfrog the reality I recorded, which now seem another man's writing. I assume different identities now, controlling my enterprise through elaborate mechanisms of separation. My personas are primarily political as I continue to try to guide events. I succeed, though less with every passing century. I wonder, sometimes, if I should let loose the reins, now that I have nothing to offer other than my accumulated wealth. Edit. Original comments //s/w-w-w.com/r/Reddit.com/r_given_comment/6HL62g/year_core_and_discore. Source comment. Cold copy it entirely because character limit, but there's a few extra paragraphs you may want to read. I would read that book.